Good evening. You're now with me, Lorenzo Isaac, for TVS Nightline. We begin with this story. Corporate social responsibility in education must count, not just be a one-off donation. It should deliver lasting benefits, not only for individual students, but also for human capital development and Sarawak's overall competitiveness. Sarawak Premier Dato' Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg says CSR must be strategic, sustainable, and aligned with the state's long-term goals to make a real impact on communities.
Corporate social responsibility in Sarawak must move beyond one-time donation. It must be strategic, sustainable, and aligned with our state's long-term goals.
Speaking at the No Kid Left Behind Investing in Education for All event organized by the Hornbill Foundation today, he says supporting education is one of the most effective forms of CSR, shaping communities and preparing young generations to be knowledgeable, creative, and ready for modern challenges. He lauded the foundation for expanding education access in Sarawak's rural areas in line with Post-COVID Development Strategy or PCDS 2030. It allows remote schools to access modern learning materials and global education platforms, narrowing the gap between urban and rural areas.
What we are witnessing through the Hornbill Foundation is a living example of this vision in action. It shows that even modest beginnings, when guided by conviction and commitment, it can grow into a statewide movement that touches thousands of lives. This is what we mean by Sarawak to educate Sarawakian. The spirit of helping one another, regardless of background or our geographical location.
The Hornbill Foundation, which started in 2017 with just one school and a few hundred students, has now expanded to reach thousands of rural learners. Through this initiative, classrooms in remote areas are now digitally connected, allowing students to access knowledge and technology on par with their urban peers. In addition, the foundation builds student and teacher capacity in digital skills, STEM, creativity, and English proficiency, aligning with the needs of the next generation.
The dredging and deepening of the KUALA BARAM Delta Access Channel is now 40% complete. Sarawak Deputy Premier Dato' Amar Douglas Ukahambas says the good weather so far should be taken advantage of to accelerate progress.
This project cost us 208 million, and we are very pleased with the progress. I think the weather has been very kind also. Now they have completed 40% ahead of 0.27%. We really hope that the company the contractor will then mobilize all their machinery, all their material, because this is a very heavy material, in order to complete the project.
Speaking to the media after visiting the project site today, UGA revealed that the project is on track for completion ahead of schedule.
Major infrastructure initiatives, including the Pan-Borneo and Northern Coastal Highways, the proposed Trans-Borneo Railway, the Tanjung Embang Deep Seaport, and new maritime routes such as Zamboanga, Sandakan, and Davao, Labuan, are expected to reduce logistics costs by up to 30%. Deputy Sarawak Premier Dato' Amar Awang Tengah Ali Hassan emphasized that the key role the subnational governments play in realizing the region's shared ambition of an integrated, resilient, and prosperous Brunei Darussalam, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, East ASEAN Growth Area, BIM IAGA.
Speaking today at the BIM IAGA Ministerial Retreat on Samal Island, the Philippines, he also highlighted Sarawak's ambitious renewable energy expansion, targeting 10 gigawatts by 2030 and 15 gigawatts by 2035, alongside initiatives in carbon capture, utilization and storage, CCUS, and development of the blue-green economy, positioning the state as a model for low-carbon growth in the region. On human capital development, Awang Tengah emphasized collaboration in TVET, stressed the importance of private sector participation, and praised the BIMP-IAGA Business Council for advancing strategic projects such as the BEC card and the e-commerce consolidation hub in Sungai Tujuh. He reaffirmed Sarawak's readiness to deepen regional partnerships, citing the establishment of the Sarawak Trade and Tourism Office in Brunei and the upcoming office in West Kalimantan, and invited all BIMP-IAGA member states to collaborate in developing halal, high-tech and low-carbon industries.
Police in Bau have arrested 9 men in connection with drug abuse following a targeted operation in the district yesterday. The suspects were picked up between 11 a.m. and 1:45 p.m. during the operation. Bau District Police Chief Superintendent Muhammad Hadi A. Rahman says one of the men was found with a transparent plastic packet containing crystals, believed to be meth, weighing 1.7 grams. He was arrested under Section 12 in Bracket 2 of the Dangerous Drugs Act 1952. All 9 suspects also tested positive for drugs and were detained under Section 15 in Bracket 1, Subsection A of the same Act. Superintendent Muhammad Haidi warns that police will not hesitate to take stern actions against individuals involved in drug abuse. For information on drug-related activities or to report suspicious behavior, contact the numbers shown on screen. Welcome back. Petroleum Nasional Berhad, or Petronas, has announced the declaration of commerciality, DOC, for Sloania field in Block 52, Suriname, marking a new milestone in the country's first gas development. Through its subsidiary, Petronas Suriname, in partnership with Stetsoli Machapich Suriname, the project is now ready to move from the exploration phase to development, subject to final investment decision.
Muhammad Redani says this success continues the positive momentum following the Sloania 1 discovery in 2020. He adds that the achievement also reinforces both parties' confidence in offshore hydrocarbon potential in Suriname, while underlining their joint commitment to unlock the country's gas resources. Petronas will operate Block 52 with an 80% interest, while the remaining 20% is held by Stetsoli's subsidiary, Paradise Oil Company. He notes that Petronas now holds interests in 8 offshore blocks in Suriname, blocks 9, 10, 48, 52, 53, 63, 64, and 66, further strengthening its position as a strategic partner in Suriname's energy sector growth. According to Muhammad Redani, this milestone highlights Petronas's focus on high-value growth through partnerships and expertise, while establishing Suriname as an emerging deep-water gas hub in the Suriname-Guyana Basin.
Monday's explosion in Delhi claimed 12 lives and injured 20 others. Among the victims was a pharmaceutical businessman who worked nearby. Our correspondent from RT International spoke with his father, who shared his son's final moments and the family struggle to cope with his loss.
Just 10 minutes before it all, my son had called me. We were supposed to meet midway. He'd called and said, "Papa, you and the family leave now. I will meet you on the way." He'd just left the shop. I don't know if he was going to take a cab or a three-wheeler. We were also on our way in 10 minutes. As we were crossing Ashram, I asked my daughter-in-law to call my son. A lady answered the phone. She told us she found his phone lying outside Red Fort and that there was a blast over there. She said she didn't know the details, only that there was a massive blast.
As soon as the family arrived at the scene at Kashmir Gate, they were informed that the victims have been brought to the nearest hospital. The next day at 5 a.m., the whole family was informed that the victim X was among the 12 victims killed by the explosion. Delhi's authorities described the tragedy as terror incident. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's cabinet condemned the attack at a security meeting late on Wednesday, saying it was a cowardly act carried out by anti-national forces.
The UN Human Rights Council today ordered investigators to probe alleged atrocities in Sudan's El Fasher and to seek to identify perpetrators so that they can be brought to justice. The United Nations top rights body adopted a resolution ordering the UN's independent fact-finding mission on Sudan to urgently investigate violations in El Fasher.
The text also called on the investigative team to identify, where possible, suspected perpetrators in a bid to ensure they are all held accountable.
My staff are gathering evidence of violations that could be used in legal proceedings, and we have deployed several missions to areas where civilians are fleeing, and we are sending more. The International Criminal Court has indicated that it is following the situation closely. All those involved in this conflict should know we are watching you and justice must prevail.
Since breaking out in April 2023, the war between Sudan's army and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces has killed tens of thousands of people, displaced nearly 12 million more, and triggered one of the world's worst humanitarian crises. The violence has escalated dramatically in recent weeks, with the RSF seizing control of the key town of El Fasher in Sudan's western Darfur region after an 18-month siege and reports of atrocities multiplying.
The BBC on Thursday said that its chairman had sent a letter to US President Donald Trump apologizing for a misleading edit of one of his speeches, but rejected that it was grounds for a defamation lawsuit. The comments came after Britain's embattled public broadcaster said earlier that it was investigating a possible second instance in which a Trump speech was edited in a misleading way.
On Monday, the BBC apologized for giving the impression in a documentary aired last year that Trump had directly urged violent action just before the assault on the U.S. Capitol by his supporters on January 6, 2021. The video edit has triggered a firestorm, leading the BBC Director General and the organization's top news executive to resign on Sunday and drawing a threat from Trump's lawyer to sue for $1 billion. However, the BBC said it strongly disagrees that there is a basis for a defamation claim. It added that it had written to Trump's legal team in response. The editing row comes at a politically sensitive time for the BBC, which is due to renegotiate the royal charter that outlines the corporation's governance. Its current charter will end in 2027. British Culture Minister Lisa Nandy says a review into the BBC will start before the end of the year.
We will imminently begin the Charter Review, which will set the terms of the BBC for the next decade, and through it we will collectively write the next chapter of the BBC's story. Together we will ensure the BBC is sustainably funded, commands the public's trust, and continues to drive growth, good jobs, skills and creativity across every region and nation of the UK. In an era in which trust is fraying and truth is contested across our nation, it will ensure the BBC remains fiercely independent and is genuinely accountable to the public it serves. We will publish a green paper and launch a public consultation shortly, and I will set out more detail to the House in the coming weeks.
Those were the updates on TVS Nightline. I'm Lorenzo Isaac. Thank you for watching and have a good night.